So I guess I've only been reviewing things that are Netflix exclusive as of late, which I can't really help since January and February are filmmaking wastelands. We should be grateful we have any streaming service giving us halfway decent shit to watch. Then again, if the shit we watch is anything like The Open House, then I think I might cancel my subscription and mail my broken Amazon Fire Stick to Netflix and have a very strongly worded post-it note attached to the bag that uses some choice verbiage explaining that they need to perhaps up their quality assurance department. This movie fucking blows. You may wonder, but Jake, it was a horror movie released in January onto Netflix. It wasn't even good enough for theaters. Why did you expect anything? And that's understandable. However, in previous years, I was pleasantly surprised when Netflix released films early in the year like Hush. Movies that aren't exactly great, but are still interesting. They're well-made thrillers that are all well above average, and they're a lot better than anything you'd find in January. And those smaller movies sometimes had people like Mike Flanagan, one of my favorite guys working in the horror biz today. So when I saw that the one kid who's a good actor but isn't in any good movies was attached to this movie, I figured I'd at least get an above-average entertaining film. I got around maybe like 30% of one? See, The Open House is one of those movies that tricks you by starting out relatively fine. Performances are solid, so they carry you through the opening parts. The direction and camera work is solid enough, so you think that the movie is going to build on that. And no, it does not. Ever. See, I had beef with that Annabelle Creation movie last year because every scare was predictable, all jump scares, nothing inventive. And you know what? I kind of feel bad for being so harsh on that movie because it at least attempted to scare me. This movie has so many fake-out whoosh jump scares that don't affect the narrative in any way, and they all happen in the same exact fashion with the exact same timing. It almost feels like these jump scares are happening in horror movies non-diegetically. The characters in the movie aren't as scared as the audience watching it. And don't get me wrong, jump scares can be done fine, but they're often used by lazy filmmakers in lazy ways. So what exactly is the premise here? Well, this kid and his mom suffer a tragedy when the kid's dad dies, and to sort of recoup, they stay in their family's country home to get away. Except it's still being shown because it's being sold, so they have to leave after 5 o'clock every day and come back later because the house has to be shown. So it sounds kind of lame, right? It is. The only reason I got past the premise was because the characterization was strong out of the gate. The kid has a lot of pressure put on him to be an Olympic runner. This vacation, however, kind of impedes his progress for training, and he knows his mom needs to be away from their old house, so he's a bit conflicted as to how to feel along with dealing with his dad's death. And they're also in financial dire straits, so he knows that he has to make money. The mom and the kid have pretty decent chemistry, and the drama that builds between the two of them is actually pretty effective. But this is important here. Drama being built up is only effective if it pays off in some way, and here it does not. The first half is relatively bland, some bad spooks happen. Someone might be sneaking into the house, and during open houses, someone might be coming in and doing stuff and stealing things, and the townsfolk are mildly creepy. It's sort of like Get Out if everything about Get Out was poopy. But hey, so far it's not that bad, right? A below mediocre horror film that had some decent drama without effective scares. I've seen worse. No problem. Then the ending happened. So throughout the film, there's a lot of build-up to who this intruder sneaking around the house is. We think maybe the two leads are going crazy from grief, and it's the thing in the house is maybe it's the angry ghost of the dad, maybe it's the creepy neighbor, maybe it's the realtor, anyone's guess. The drama and the suspense sort of intertwine at the end, like most horror movies. So the drama is building, we're supposed to get some kind of payoff, and perhaps maybe a moral or message about grief or family in the way that they intersect. Except no, we get none of that. Like, at all. Instead, the killer is some fucking rando whose face we never see. He kills the mom, the kid has to leave her behind to escape, and I thought, oh, because he's a runner and he feels bad that he couldn't help save his dad, this is gonna pay off because he has to run away to save himself instead of saving his mom. And the message would be about what you gotta do to sacrifice for your future, or be a metaphor for leaving the past behind. It's something, it's better than what I got, but no, that would be like a real thing that actual movies do. Instead, he hides, and then he gets found, and then the killer just drowns him. And then we get a shot of the killer driving away to another open house. He's going to kill again.
What the hell is this? Some kind of a shit for brains joke?
Except, I know nothing about this guy, why he's killing people. or what the narrative function he serves other than murdering the film as well as the characters. This movie is what I have to call a non-ending. It doesn't feel like a movie when it's all over because the last 20 or so minutes things just begin to happen. There is no sense of structure, no payoff to the plethora of setups that they had at their disposal, no morals, no scares, no message, nothing. You simply watch events take place, and they have no bearing on anything whatsoever. It's like the screenwriters suddenly forgot what movies were, and how they worked. Again, a lot of the reason for why this ending fails is because the drama and the horror are just completely separate entities that invade on each other at the end. There's no clever tie-in for how it works. It's just like, at the end of Goodfellas, if everybody got killed by a random bank robber from a different film. It's like, oh, okay. Cool. I'm giving this a very generous 3 out of 10. It sucks. Don't even watch it if you're bored.